Okay, this is a document called Takeover by Definition Change. Extracts, letters patent constituting the office of Governor-General, 29th of October 1900. Now know ye that we have thought fit to constitute, order, and declare, and do by these presents constitute, order, and declare that there shall be a Governor-General, and Commander-in-Chief shall be from time to time appointed by commission under our sign, manual, and signet. Commission under our sign, manual, and signet has never been changed by law. William Shepherd Dunn Russell, Governor-General, Royal Sign Manual, no signet. This commission changed our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. Commonwealth of Australia Gazette, published by authority. Number 10, Canberra, Tuesday, 2nd of February 1960. Proclamation. Commonwealth of Australia to witness. Writ. Dunn Russell, Governor-General, by His Excellency the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia. Whereas Her Majesty has been graciously pleased by commission under her Royal Sign Manual and the Royal Great Seal of the Commonwealth of Australia, bearing date at St. James the 18th day of December 1959, to constitute and appoint me, William Shepherd, this Viscount Dunn Russell, a member of Her Majesty's Most Honourable Privy Council, Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, upon whom has been conferred the decoration of the Military Cross, one of Her Majesty's Council learned in the law, to be Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief in and over the Commonwealth of Australia. I do hereby proclaim and declare that I have this day taken the prescribed oaths before the Right Honourable Sir.
What you got to realise in that, by changing our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, what they've done is changed taking control of the Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief. They've removed the Section 61 of the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted, because the Governor-General sits in Her Majesty's place as her representative. Now, from this day forward, you can't have royal assent from any Commonwealth Act, because the Governor-General does not represent Her Most Excellent Majesty.
So, treasonous political parties now owned and control the Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief, therefore controlled the Commonwealth Defence Forces. This allowed the treasonous political parties to go to war against North Vietnam. In 1965, all state governors and parliaments agreed to create the dollar outside our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. Therefore, the dollar being counterfeit, all contracts with the dollar are fraud. Fraud within any contract makes the contract void. All loans in the dollar, housing, property, farms, and businesses are void. In this series of dollar notes, 100, 50, 20, 10, and $5, all have the treasonous political party republic seal within. As you can see on the screen, it's all got a black circle. The debt of this counterfeit dollar belongs to the treasonous political parties and their members, not the people as established under our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act.
In these dollars, you have a 5 and an O. With the 10, you have a 1 and an O. When you have the $10, you have a 1 and an O, 2 and an O, 5 and an O, 1 and 2 O's. So what the hell is the money?
The Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, as proclaimed and gazetted. which consists of the preamble, clauses 1 to 9, and the schedule, prescribes at clause 9 the Constitution of the Commonwealth. Chapter 1, the Parliament. Part 1, General. Salary of the Governor-General equals pounds. Each senator and each member of the House of Representatives equals pounds. Payable to the Queen, pounds. Ministers of State, pounds. Section 3, Salary of Governor-General. 3. There shall be payable to the Queen out of the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Commonwealth for the salary of the Governor-General, an annual sum which, until the Parliament otherwise provides, shall be £10,000, not dollars. The salary of the Governor-General shall not be altered during his continuance in office. Chapter 1, the Parliament. Part 4, both Houses of Parliament. Section 46, penalty for sitting when disqualified. 46. Until the Parliament otherwise provides, any person declared by this Constitution to be incapable of sitting as a senator or as a member of the House of Representatives shall, for every day on which he so sits, be liable to pay the sum of £100 to any person who sues for it in any court of competent jurisdiction. Today there is no court of competent jurisdiction. They sit in treason. Section 48, allowance to members. Until the Parliament otherwise provides, each senator and each member of the House of Representatives shall receive an allowance of £400 a year, to be reckoned from the day on which he takes his seat. Section 66, salaries of ministers. There shall be payable to the Queen out of the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Commonwealth for the salaries of the Ministers of State, an annual sum which, until the Parliament otherwise provides, shall not exceed £12,000 a year. All to be paid in pounds, not counterfeit dollars.
What you're going to realise here, when we talked about the court not having a competent court, competent court, when the Governor-General was sworn in on the 2nd of February and the proclamation 1960, the person to take his oath was the Chief Justice of the High Court. By the Chief Justice of the High Court taking an oath that was fraud, sold his soul at that time. And the Chief Justice of the High Court is in charge of all courts. Now, under this as well, in 1965, and when they started the dollar note in 14th of February 1960, all courts are paid in fraudulent money. And when was the last time a governor of the state were paid in proper money? Everybody walked outside the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted by being paid in fraudulent money.
So all contracts in counterfeit dollars is criminal fraud, therefore no contract. All loans in the dollar, housing, property, farms and businesses are void. The enacting manner and form, year 1972, be it enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, the Senate and the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Australia, equals Crown and constitutional authority. In 1973, be it therefore enacted by the Queen, note, Most Excellent Majesty and Commonwealth removed, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia.
This is done because the political parties took ownership of the Governor-General in 1960. Now they can turn around and take out total royal assent because the enacting manner and form is part of royal assent. That can only be used under the Governor-General or the state governors representing the Crown and using the Royal Coat of Arms plus this enacting manner and form, albeit enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, the Senate and the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Australia, that's royal assent. This below here is not royal assent. It's got nothing to do. It is a private system going forward.
So, Most Excellent Majesty, royal assent has been removed. Commonwealth. Quick-and-Garron's Annotated Constitution, Commonwealth, page 927, quote, "Attention is particularly drawn to this definition of Commonwealth, which is clear and unchallengeable, according to the express wording of the preamble and first 6 clauses of the Imperial Act. This is part of the treasonous political parties cloning our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act to their treason. Therefore, the preamble and the first 6 clauses are not consolidated forward. This, in fact, removed all living people and therefore creating all as abstract, hence John Doe or Jane Doe in all caps. Oxford Dictionary, abstract, objective, theoretical rather than physical, also does not consolidate humbly relying on the blessing of Almighty God. Oxford Dictionary, consolidate, verb, make stronger or more solid."
This basically means, like, it's a real con job, this using the word consolidate, because they turn around and it is like, if you go to your local federal member and get a pocket constitution, all these things are still there, but they don't recognise them. It's a real con way of making us believe they are still under our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, but they're not. They've wiped it out and they've copyrighted it.
Whereas the people of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland and Tasmania, humbly relying on the blessing of Almighty God, have agreed to unite in one indissoluble federal commonwealth under the Crown of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, and under the Constitution hereby established. And whereas it is expedient to provide for the admission into the Commonwealth of other Australasian colonies and possessions of the Queen, be it therefore enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Lords Spiritual and Temporal and Commons in this present Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same, as follows. Number 1. Short title. This Act may be cited as the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. 2. Act to extend the Queen's successors. 3. Proclamation of Commonwealth. 4. Commencement of Act. 5. Operation of the Constitution and laws. This Act and all laws made by the Parliament of the Commonwealth under the Constitution shall be binding on the courts, judges and people of every state and of every part of the Commonwealth, notwithstanding anything in the laws of any state.
Now, let's go back to section 1 there, or clause 1. This Act may be cited as the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. Now, the may gives you an option. The option is you go to the very next Act, which is the Australia Acts Interpretation Act, which is Act number 2 of 1901, and it stipulates under constitutional definitions, the Constitution Act is the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. Therefore, unless you use either one of those names for our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, it is not our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. Political parties and a lot of people are using Australian Constitution or the Constitution. All these things do not refer back to our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. And because the political parties have copyrighted the 9th of July 1900 an act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia, we always put Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act as 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted, so everybody knows exactly what we're talking about.
Number 6, definitions. All we have today is Parliament of Australia enacts treasonous political party enactment. Constitutional definitions went from this, the Lion and the Unicorn, Act's interpretation. Number 2 of 1901, an Act for the interpretation of Acts of Parliament and for shortening their language, assented to 12th of July 1901. Be it enacted by the King's Most Excellent Majesty, the Senate and the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Australia as follows. Short title and application. 1. This Act may be cited as the Acts Interpretation Act 1901. 17. Constitutional and official definitions. The Commonwealth. A. The Commonwealth shall mean the Commonwealth of Australia. And Australia. Australia includes the whole of the Commonwealth. The Constitution. The Constitution shall mean the Constitution of the Commonwealth. The Constitution Act. The Constitution Act shall mean the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. The Parliament. The Parliament shall mean the Parliament of the Commonwealth. Our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act is a common law of England contract and holds all rights known to man. To this treason. This Act was done while sitting within the walls of our Parliament. Acts Interpretation Act 1973, number 79 of 1973. An Act to amend the Acts Interpretation Act 1901 to 1966, assented to 19th of June 1973. Be it enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows.
That be it enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. That Queen is the Queen of Australia. That enacting manner and form has got no crown or constitutional authority. It is just a con job. It is actually a private system and purporting to be our government, or our Parliament I should say, but it is not our Parliament. They're outside our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted.
Constitutional and official definitions. 4. 1. Section 17 of the Principal Act is amended. A. By omitting paragraphs A and B and substituting the following paragraph. A. Australia or the Commonwealth means the Commonwealth of Australia, and when used in a geographical sense does not include an external territory. And Acts Interpretation Act 1973 number 79 changed the constitutional and official definitions, creating their own abstract Australia or Commonwealth means the Commonwealth of Australia in a geographical sense outside our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. The contrary intention has never appeared to this day.
The contrary intention means they've never changed it back to what it is. It was treason to change it without a referendum, so therefore the contrary intention they can't do because they're admitting to treason the moment they do.
The Evidence Act 1973, number 80 of 1973, being enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. Short title and citation. 1.1. This Act may be cited as the Evidence Act 1973. 2. The Evidence Act 1905 to 1964 as amended by this Act may be cited as the Evidence Act 1905 to 1973.
What you need to remember in all this system now, they are under their Commonwealth of Australia in a geographical sense. They have changed their definition. So all acts from now on are under their system of definitions.
Commencement. This Act shall come into operation on a date to be fixed by proclamation. 3. Section 8 of the Evidence Act 1905 to 1964 is repealed and the following section substituted. Proof of Gazette. Number 8. 1. The mere production of a paper purporting to be the Commonwealth of Australia Gazette shall in all courts be evidence that the paper is the Commonwealth of Australia Gazette and was published on the day on which it bears date. 2. The mere production of a paper purporting to be the Australian Government Gazette shall in all courts be evidence that the paper is the Australian Government Gazette and was published on the day on which it bears date. Oxford Dictionary. Purport, verb, appear to be or do, especially falsely.
They're using the Commonwealth of Australia Gazette. It is their Commonwealth of Australia. It's exactly like they say. It is a mere production of paper purporting, and the word purporting appear to be or do, especially falsely.
Treasonous political parties, Australia. Australian Electoral Office Act 1973, number 87 of 1973. An act relating to the administration of electoral laws, assented to 19th of June 1973, being enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. 1. This Act, short title. 1. This Act may be cited as the Australian Electoral Office Act 1973. Commencement. 2. This Act shall come into operation on a date to be fixed by proclamation. Definition. 3. In this Act, officer means an officer referred to in Section 4. Establishment of the office and officers. 4.1. There is hereby established an office to be known as the Australian Electoral Office, which shall consist of the officers referred to in this section and the staff referred to in Section 15. 2. There shall be A Chief Australian Electoral Officer, B. A Deputy Chief Australian Electoral Officer, and C. An Australian Electoral Officer for each state. 3. The Chief Australian Electoral Officer shall, under the Minister, control the Australian Electoral Office.
Can we just go back there a bit? Now, just remember, this Act shall come into operation on a date to be fixed by proclamation. None of these Acts have royal assent, so they're not worth the paper they're written on. This is a private system purporting to be a parallel system to ours.
Every time you vote to stay as a slave to the treasonous political party that doesn't represent you. Wake up, people. All under the treasonous political party's changed constitutional definitions equals treason.
Under this system, political parties now create their own private constitutions, sit under their own private constitutions, represent only the people within their political parties. They do not represent the majority of people that in this country as established under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. This is total treason.
Australian Citizenship Act 1973, and this is their seal. They created this, which is trademarked over in the United States, Washington, and it has the the Roman wreath underneath it.
Definition of Australia.
The definition of Australia is theirs in a geographical sense. What do we got? Number 99 of 1973, an act to amend the Citizenship Act 1948 to 1969 being enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. Section 15, Schedule 2, Oath of Allegiance. I, A.B., renouncing all other allegiance, swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Australia and fulfil my duties as an Australian citizen. Affirmation of allegiance. I, A.B., renouncing all other allegiance, solemnly and sincerely promise and declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Australia and fulfil my duties as an Australian citizen. Section 26A, Schedule 3, Oath of Allegiance. I, A.B., renouncing all other allegiance, swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia, her heirs and successors according to law. Affirmation of allegiance. I, A.B., renouncing all other allegiance, solemnly and sincerely promise and declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia, her heirs and successors according to law. This treasonous political party abstract Queen of Australia does not hold the title Defender of the Faith, Common Law of England, King James Bible, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, Habeas Corpus, etc. Under this treason, we the people, as established under our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, have no rights.
On this oath also you swear by Almighty God. That is not, remember they removed humbly relying on the blessings of Almighty God out of our preamble, so this God is satanic.
So, Elizabeth R. R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen, which equals Political Party Queen of Australia. Elizabeth R. 19th of October 1973. Royal Style and Titles Act 1973. Number 114 of 1973. An act relating to the Royal Style and Titles. Whereas, in accordance with the Royal Style and Titles Act 1953, Her Majesty, by proclamation dated 28th of May 1953, adopted as the Royal Style and Titles to be used in relation to the Commonwealth of Australia and its territories. The style and titles set forth in the schedule to that act refers to the establishment under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901. And whereas the Government of Australia considers it desirable to propose to Her Majesty a change in the form of the Royal Style and Titles to be used in relation to Australia and its territories. Government of Australia is not the Government of the Commonwealth of Australia, as established under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901. And whereas the proposed new style and titles, being the style and titles set forth in the schedule to this Act, retains the common element referred to in the preamble to the Royal Style and Titles Act 1953. Be it therefore enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. This enacting matter and form has no crown and constitutional authority. Number 1. This Act may be cited as the Royal Style and Titles Act 1973, short title. Assent to adoption of new royal style and titles in relation to Australia.
Now, this in relation to Australia is, what they're doing here is they're creating a royal style and titles for their Australia. It is in the pretense that that is still holding the Queen, our Queen, which is Her Most Excellent Majesty, not Her Majesty Queen of Australia. This is just a real fraudulent con job of creating a royal style and title to suit their treasonous look-alike parliament system.
Number 2. 1. The assent of the Parliament is hereby given to the adoption by Her Majesty for use in relation to Australia and its territories, in lieu of the style and title set forth in the schedule to the Royal Style and Titles Act 1953, of the style and title set forth in the schedule to this Act, and to the issue for that purpose by Her Majesty of her Royal Proclamation under such seal as Her Majesty by warrant appoints. This Royal Style and Titles Act 1973 has defaced Her Most Excellent Majesty Elizabeth II by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and of our other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith, equals treason. 2.
The Royal Style and Titles Act of 1953 was, instead of being replaced by this one here in 1973, was removed on the 31st of December 1973. That if this was a valid act with royal assent, it would have removed or taken over the Royal Styles and Titles Act 1953. Instead, like I said, they removed it behind everybody's back on the 31st of December 1973.
Number 2. The proclamation referred to in subsection 1 shall be published in the Gazette and shall have effect on the date upon which it is so published. Schedule. Royal Style and Titles. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen of Australia and her other realms and territories, Head of the Commonwealth. I hereby certify that the above is a fair print of the Royal Style and Titles Bill 1973, which originated in the House of Representatives and has been finally passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives by J. Pettifer, acting clerk of the House of Representatives. So they have crossed out, in the name of Her Majesty, I assent to this Act. I reserve this proposed law for Her Majesty's pleasure. Paul Hasluck, Governor General, September 14th, 1973. Printed by authority by the Government Printer of Australia. Paul Hasluck is a political party treasonous pretend Governor General impersonating, representing our Elizabeth II by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and of our other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith. Paul Hasluck represents the political parties which are not within the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. This Act was enacted to the changed constitutional and official definitions by and for the political party's status as the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation while sitting in the People's Parliament. Royal Style and Titles Act 1973, its proclamation and gazette is treason at the highest level. Treason at the highest level. Australian Government Gazette. As you can see, it's got the same kangaroo and emu black and white version which they created. Published by, authority by, the Australian Government Publishing Service. Number 152, Canberra, Friday, 19th of October, 1973. Australia, Commonwealth, Commonwealth of Australia, equals treasonous political party's definition. Royal warrant. Elizabeth R. R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen, which equals treasonous political party Queen of Australia. Elizabeth R. To our Governor-General of Australia. With this you will receive a Great Seal, prepared by our order for the use of our Government of Australia. Our will and pleasure is, and we do hereby authorise and direct that the said Great Seal be used in sealing all things whatsoever that shall pass the Great Seal of Australia. Our will and pleasure further is that you do cause the Great Seal that accompanied our royal warrant given at our court at Government House, Canberra, on the 16th of February 1954 to be defaced by you in our Executive Council of Australia. Defaced Great Seal to be used by government, granted by royal warrant. And for doing so, this shall be your warrant, given at our court at Government House, Canberra, 19th of October 1973.
This Great Seal of Australia is total treason. It's their Government of Australia. It is, you can't deface a royal warrant. That is treason in itself. This whole system, we had trouble finding these documents, so we ended up getting somebody to go into the parliamentary library, and they gave us these 5 pages which we're going to go through now.
Where are we? By Her Majesty's command, E.G. Whitlam. All capital letters is a corporation fiction. Prime Minister.
We don't have a Prime Minister within our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted.
And we've got here number 152, 19th of October 1973, Australian Government Gazette.
That's page 2.
Oh, page 2, sorry. Treason at the highest level. Royal warrant. Australia, Commonwealth of Australia equals treasonous political party's definition. Elizabeth R. R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen, which equals treasonous political party Queen of Australia. Elizabeth R. To all and singular to whom this warrant shall come, greeting. Whereas by our warrant given this day at our court at Government House, Canberra, we authorise and directed that a Great Seal prepared by our order for the use of our Government of Australia be used in sealing all things whatsoever that should pass the Great Seal of Australia. And whereas it is desirable that the said Great Seal be used as a Royal Great Seal for certain purposes. Now, therefore, our will and pleasure is, and we do hereby authorise and direct that the said Great Seal be used as a Royal Great Seal in sealing all things whatsoever, other than things that pass the said Great Seal, that bear our sign manual and the counter signature of one of our Ministers of State for Australia, given at our court at Government House, Canberra, on the 19th of October 73.
Now, if this was royal, it wouldn't be given at our Government House, Canberra. This is in the pretense that it has royal authority. It has nothing but treason.
By Her Majesty's command, E.G. Whitlam, all capital letters, is a corporation fiction. Prime Minister. Right, page 3. Australian Government Gazette, number 152, 19th of October 1973. Treason at the highest level. Proclamation. Australia, Commonwealth Commonwealth of Australia equals treasonous political party's definition. Australia is their Australia. By His Excellency, the Governor-General of Australia, which has no crown and constitutional authority. He has sold his soul, or her. Paul Hasluck, traitor, bought and sold by political parties. Governor-General, whereas a proposed law entitled An Act Relating to the Royal Style and Titles has been passed by both houses of the Parliament of Australia, and whereas upon the proposed law being on the 14th September 1973 presented to me for the royal assent, I declared that I reserved the proposed law for the signification of Her Majesty's pleasure, Queen of Australia. And whereas the signification of Her Majesty's pleasure has been communicated to me by the Queen of Australia, which equals treason. Now, therefore, I, Sir Paul Hasluck, he's got two names there, middle names, the Governor-General of Australia, do hereby proclaim and make known that Her Majesty has been pleased to assent to the proposed law, given under my hand and the Great Seal of Australia on the 19th of October 1973. Not worth the paper this is written on, just another political party's treasonous proof of ownership of the treasonous, pathetic Governor-General. By His Excellency's command, E.G. Whitlam, all capital letters, is a corporation fiction. Prime Minister. Page number 4, number 152, 19th of October 1973, Australian, their Australia, Government Gazette. Treason at the highest level, Royal Warrant. Australia, Commonwealth of Australia equals treasonous political party's definition. Elizabeth R. R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen, which equals treasonous political party Queen of Australia. Elizabeth R. Whereas, by an act of our Australian Parliament, entitled the Royal Style and Titles Act 1973, it is enacted that the assent of the said Parliament is given to the adoption by us for use in relation to Australia and its territories in lieu of the style and titles set forth in the schedule to the Act of our Australian Parliament entitled the Royal Style and Titles Act 1953, of the style and titles set forth in the schedule to the first mentioned Act, and to the issue for that purpose by us of our royal proclamation under such seal as we by warrant appoint.
Now, they talked about here our royal proclamation. That royal proclamation is under the Queen of Australia. It's the wording in this is, you have to follow the English of what they're saying.
Now, therefore, we do, by this our warrant, appoint the Great Seal of Australia, being the seal that we have this day delivered to our Governor-General of Australia, to be the seal under which the said royal proclamation shall be issued, given at our court at Government House, Canberra, on the 19th of October 73. Their court again. Treasonous political parties have removed the Royal Style and Titles Act 1953 for their treasonous Royal Style and Titles Act 1973, no crown and constitutional authority. Page 5, Australian, their Australian Government Gazette, number 152, 19th of October 1973, treason at the highest level. By the Queen of Australia. A proclamation. Australia, Commonwealth of Australia, equals treasonous political party's definition. Elizabeth R. R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen, which equals treasonous political party Queen of Australia. Elizabeth R. Whereas by an Act of the Parliament of Australia entitled the Royal Style and Titles Act 1973, it is enacted that the assent of the said Parliament is given to the adoption by us for use in relation to Australia and its territories, in lieu of the style and titles at present pertaining to the Crown, of the style and titles set forth in the schedule to that Act, and to the issue for that purpose by us of our royal proclamation under such seal as we by warrant appoint. And whereas we have this day by our warrant appointed the Great Seal of Australia to be the seal under which the said royal proclamation shall be issued. Now, therefore, we do hereby appoint and declare that henceforth, so far as conveniently may be, on all occasions and in all instruments wherein our style and titles are used in relation to Australia and its territories, the following style and titles shall be used, that is to say, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen of Australia and her other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth. Given under the Great Seal of Australia at our court at Government House, Canberra, on the 19th of October 1973. Treasonous political parties have created their own private status for their Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation without a referendum, which equals treason. Lands Acquisition Act 1973, number 208 of 1973, assented to 19th of December 1973. Be it enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. 3. The principal act as amended by this Act may be cited as the Lands Acquisition Act 1955 to 1973. Commencement. Number 2. This Act shall come into operation on the day on which it receives the Royal Assent.
The Royal Assent for this Act is from the Queen of Australia, from the documents we've just gone through. And also what they're doing here, they're talking about the Lands Acquisition Act of 1955 to 1973. That is, they have created a new Commonwealth of Australia, which this is all under, and it's a con job to be still talking about the Lands Acquisition Act of 1955. They've done this with all their acts. They refer back to our acts, but it's all under their definitions from 1973 forward.
Repeal of Section 4. Number 3. Section 4 of the Principal Act is repealed. 4. 1. Section 7 of the Principal Act is amended. A. By omitting from subsection 1 the words the Governor-General and substituting the words the Minister, and 2. The land acquired under this section may be an easement, right, power, privilege or other interest that did not previously exist as such in, over or in connotation with land. Connection? Where are we? The treasonous political parties can take your land for whatever idea they can dream up. Number 6. 1. Section 17 of the Principal Act is amended by omitting from paragraphs A and C the word yards and substituting the word meters. Power to occupy lands temporarily. Treasonous political parties have created their own land in metres for their abstract Australia and put their minister in charge of that land.
This, when the political parties joined this system in 1985 under the Australia Act's Request Act of 1985, all political parties, states did it. They took over that definition of land, which took over all land within their Australia.
So, under our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, the land is acre, roods and purchase. Seas and Submerged Lands Act 1973, number 161 of 1973. Be it therefore enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. Charts of Limits of Territorial Sea, number 9, 1. The Minister may cause to be prepared and issued such charts as he thinks fit, showing any matter relating to the limits of the territorial sea. 2. In particular, the Minister may cause to be prepared and issued large-scale charts showing the low water line along the coast, and may cause to be shown on such a chart any other matter referred to in subsection 1. Number 3. The mere production of a copy of a paper purporting to be certified by the Minister to be a true copy of a chart prepared under this section is prima facie evidence of any matter shown on the chart relating to the limits of the territorial sea. The Minister can make a chart to suit whatever he wants. Oxford Dictionary, purport, verb, appear to be or do, especially falsely. These two acts below cloned our acts under the treasonous political party system. 128 pages of changes. Both acts commenced 31st of December 1973. Statute Law Revision Act 1973, 216 is where they cloned our laws. Statute Law Revision Act 1974. This act was backdated to the 31st of December 1973. Royal Styles and Titles Act 1953, quietly removed on the 31st of December, not on the enacting of the Royal Styles and Titles Act 1973. To enforce the treasonous political party treason, they created laws to suit. Family Court of Australia Act 1975, Act number 53. Federal Court of Australia Act 1976, number 156. Australian Federal Police Act 1979, number 58 of 1979. An act to establish the Australian Federal Police and for related purposes. Be it enacted by the Queen and the Senate and the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Australia as follows. Part 1. Preliminary. 1. This Act may be cited as the Australian Federal Police Act 1979. That's the short title. Repeal. Number 3. The Commonwealth Police Act 1957 is repealed. No Crown and constitutional authority. The Oxford Dictionary. Establish. Verb. 1. Set up on a firm or permanent basis. 2. Initiate or bring about.
The Federal Police Act of 1979 has got no Crown or constitutional authority. This created all federal police as mercenaries. They have got no authority whatsoever under our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. In fact, all they are is a mob of thugs, to be polite.
Political parties created their own private sovereign, independent and federal nation. God, not being our God. Our sign manual, Governor-General of Australia, Great Seal, Royal Great Seal of Australia, Government of Australia, Parliament of Australia, Queen of Australia, our Royal Proclamation, Elizabeth R, our Australian Parliament. Elizabeth R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen. This creates Elizabeth R for the political parties. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen of Australia. Under the above, there is no common law of England, King James Bible, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, habeas corpus, etc., all to the benefit of the political parties. Now registered in Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, Commonwealth of Australia. For foreign governments and political subdivisions thereof, Securities and Exchange Commission, Washington, D.C., 20549. Commonwealth of Australia, United States, Securities and Exchange Commission, Washington, D.C., 20549. CIK number is 0000805157. Company name is Commonwealth of Australia in all caps. File number is 333-163307. The business address is 1610 Massachusetts Avenue, New York. Care of Australian Embassy, Washington, D.C., 20036. Treason by political party stylised republic seal for their Australia, with the help from Victoria, Queensland and South Australia. We've got the kangaroo and the emu. Description of the shield for political party republic.
On the left-hand side, you've got New South Wales, which is the proper seal. In the centre, at the top there, you've got, that's Victoria. They have changed. They had an imperial crown. They removed that. They created their own constitution under the Queen of Australia in 1975. They all sit in treason from that date forward. Queensland changed their imperial crown to a royal crown, or as the Chief Justice de Jersey called it, a St. Edward's crown. This is another form of treason. The lion down the bottom is Tasmania. Then you've got Western Australia as the Black Swan. Then you've got South Australia. That emblem of their I've forgotten what you call it, but it is done by the Queen of Australia. The badge is the authority of the seal above, but since they've changed it, in its original form, it was a public functionary seal for our Commonwealth of Australia to be used for subordinate legislation. But the political parties have changed it enough, and now it is trademarked in America for their Republic of Australia.
High Court of Australia Act 1979, number 137. To create this private treasonous political party High Court of Australia, they repealed sections 4 to 14 at Part 2, Constitution and Seat of our High Court, from the Judiciary Amendment Act number 2, 1979, Act number 138. This political party High Court of Australia sits as a quorum. No Crown and constitutional authority. Butterworth's Concise Australian Legal Dictionary. Quorum. In the presence of the blue writing below, if you can click onto it, it will take you to the
bulletin of the political parties, and you just go down and check on the court cases they've had, and it stipulates that they sit as a quorum, and that means no crown and constitutional authority. It's a private political party court. It's got no crown and constitutional authority. It's the seal above the kangaroo court is the same seal we've just gone through. It is a treasonous seal, got no crown or constitutional authority. Therefore, the High Court itself, you've all those pieces of shit sit in treason.
Evidence Amendment Act 1979, number 139, Acts number 137, number 138, and number 139, all purportedly commenced together. All the above were enacted to the Queen of Australia, Great Seal of Australia, political party owned and controlled Governor-General under political party definitions, which equals treason. The so-called judiciary within the treasonous political party courts are appointed by members of political parties, having no separation of powers, no crown and constitutional authority. Where was the guardian of the constitutions? Extracts from the Quick and Garran's Annotations of the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, number 288, the High Court of Australia. The High Court is the crown and apex, not only of the judicial system of the Commonwealth, but of the judicial systems of the states as well. It is in the first place a court of original jurisdiction in certain enumerated matters of specially federal concern, section 75, and this jurisdiction may be extended by federal legislation to cover certain other enumerated matters of specially federal concern, section 76. In the next place, it is a court of appeal from federal courts and courts exercising federal jurisdiction, section 73, and this appellate power is of course confined within the same limits as the original jurisdiction in respect of which it exists, that is to say, within the matters enumerated in sections 75 and 76. The High Court is a court of appeal from all decisions of the Supreme Courts of the states, utterly irrespective of the subject matter of the suit or the character of the parties. Guardian of the Constitution. The High Court, like the Supreme Court of the United States, is the guardian of the federal Constitution. That is to say, it has the duty of interpreting the Constitution in cases which come before it, and of preventing its violation. But the High Court is also, unlike the Supreme Court of the United States, the guardian of the constitutions of the several states. It is as much concerned to prevent encroachments by the federal government upon the domain of the states as to prevent encroachments by the state governments upon the domain of the federal government. See notes on interpretation, section 330 infra. So 330, its interpretation. The interpreters of the Constitution, in the exercise of the duty of interpretation and adjudication, not only the High Court, but every court of competent jurisdiction, has the right to declare that a law of the Commonwealth or of a state is void by reason of transgressing in the Constitution. This is a duty cast upon the courts by the very nature of the judicial function. The federal parliament and the state parliaments are not sovereign bodies. They are legislators with limited powers, and any law which they attempt to pass in excess of those powers is no law at all. It is simply a nullity, entitled to no obedience. The trees.
In the system of this High Court, remember when on 2nd of February 1960, a proclamation for the so-called Governor General at that time, that treasonous Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia accepting a oath that was of fraud, therefore he sold his soul. So these high courts are in the same position. They've all sold their souls. This here proves that what they should be, but under political party courts, they're not.
The treasonous political parties' enforcement acts, no crown and constitutional authority, now under their republic seal, or treason. Family Court of Australia Act 1975, Act number 53. Federal Court of Australia Act 1976, number 156. Australian Federal Police Act 1979, number 58. High Court of Australia Act 1979, number 137. The above three courts sit in the pretence of, but knowingly having no crown and constitutional authority equals treason. The Australian Federal Police are mercenaries working for a foreign company having no crown and constitutional authority, which equals treason. These treasonous political parties' enforcement acts are for the status of their Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. In the Oxford Dictionary, status, noun, the official classification given to a person, country. Therefore, under a sovereign, independent and federal nation, this nation is not within our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule, as our constitution is for a constitutional monarchy.
This, pushing this word status, like they talk about their Commonwealth of Australia, the status of their Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign independent federal nation. By using the word status, they are enforcing their definition of their Commonwealth of Australia. States, it is a definite enforcement, so there's no way out of that system. And when you look at it, there has never been a referendum for the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign independent federal nation. This is all outside our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. It is treason for them to enforce their courts, their laws and all their whole system over the people as established under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted.
This is today, January 2020, this was written and on that day. Seal of the Republic, sovereign, independent and federal nation. Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, the Constitution. Treasonous political parties, definition of Commonwealth of Australia. Compilation date 29th of July 1977 and then 18th of November 2021. The above was done by deceit. After the treasonous political parties got their enforcement, private Australian Federal Police, mercenaries, and their High Court of Australia, in treason, all after 1977, their constitution became the Constitution together with the Australia Act 1986 for their sovereign, independent and federal nation, which equals treason. Queen's counsels, are they just dumb or what? Lawyers, liars. Barristers sold their souls to work within these courts. Money became their god. The contrary intention has never appeared to this very day from the day the treasonous political parties changed the constitutional and official definitions in 1973, all done without a referendum while sitting in our Parliament. Parliament is a legislative body capable only of exercising enumerated powers. Its powers are determined and limited by actual grants to be found within the Constitution. Anything not granted to it is denied to it. From 1976 to 1980, every state removed the defender of the faith, therefore removed all rights to own anything, including our land, our own bodies, children. After this, we as people own nothing. Fact. Being abstract, we have no God, no soul. Church leaders sold their souls and ours to the treasonous political parties. All states created this act of treason in conjunction with the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. Australia Acts Request Act 1985. First paragraph. An act to enable the constitutional arrangements affecting the Commonwealth and the states to be brought into conformity with the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. And the Oxford Dictionary meaning: status, noun, the official classification given to a country. Under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, Section 128 is referendum entrenched. To change the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a constitutional monarchy to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation. When was the referendum to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation? Never has been. That's treason. Second paragraph. Whereas the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth and the Premiers of the states at conferences held in Canberra on the 24th and 25th of June 1982 and the 21st of June 1984 agreed on the taking of certain measures to bring constitutional arrangements affecting the Commonwealth and the states into conformity with the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. The Governor-General, Prime Minister, State Governors and the Premiers of the states conspired on 2 occasions to restrain and overthrow the Queen, as shown below, from her position within the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, therefore also removing the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 consisting of its preamble clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and our other realms and territories, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. When was the referendum to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation? Treason. Third paragraph. And whereas it has been agreed that the Parliament of the Commonwealth, at the request of the Parliaments of the States, in pursuance of Section 5138 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia, should enact in the terms in the first schedule. The status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation has no authority over the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, so can't engage the use of Section 5138, but the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 and criminal laws have authority over the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. So when was the referendum to become a sovereign, independent and federal nation? Treason. Section 13 of the Australia Acts Request Act 1985. Amendment of Constitution Act of Queensland 13.1. The Constitution Act 1867 to 1978 of the State of Queensland is in this section referred to as the Principal Act. Number 2. Section 11A of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 3. A. By omitting from paragraph A, 1. And signet, and 2. Constituted under letters patent under the Great Seal of the United Kingdom, and B. By omitting from paragraph B, 1. And signet, and 2. Whenever and so long as the office of Governor is vacant or the Governor is incapable of discharging the duties of administration or has departed from Queensland. Number 3. Section 11B of the Principal Act is amended. A. By omitting Governor to conform to instructions and substituting definition of Royal Sign Manual. B. By omitting subsection 1, and C. By omitting from subsection 2, number 1, 2, number 2, this section and in, and number 3, and the expression signet means the seal commonly used for the sign manual of the sovereign or the seal with which documents are sealed by the Secretary of State in the United Kingdom on behalf of the sovereign.
The signet is the authority of the Commission. They cover the signet up or remove the signet from the commissions. That is total treason.
Number 4. Section 14 of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 2 by omitting subject to his performing his duty prescribed by section 11B. Queensland Constitution Act 1867 to 1978. Requirement for referendum. 53. Certain measures to be supported by referendum. 1. A bill that expressly or impliedly provides for the abolition of or alteration in the office of Governor, or that expressly or impliedly in any way affects any of the following sections of this Act, namely sections 1, 2, 2A, 11A, 11B, 14, and this section 53. Shall not be presented for assent by or in the name of the Queen unless it has first been approved by the electors in accordance with this section, and a bill so assented to consequent upon its presentation in contravention of this subsection shall be of no effect as an act.
That section alone, just that part there, removes this whole act. And yes.
Section 14 of the Australia Acts Request Act 1985, Amendment of Constitution Act of Western Australia. 14. 1. The Constitution Act 1889 of the State of Western Australia is in this section referred to as the Principal Act. Number 2. Section 50 of the Principal Act is amended in subsection 3. A. By omitting from paragraph A, 1, and signet, and number 2, constituted under letters patent under the Great Seal of the United Kingdom. B. By omitting from paragraph B, 1, and signet, and 2, whenever and so long as the office of Governor is vacant or the Governor is incapable of discharging the duties of administration or has departed from Western Australia. And C. By omitting from paragraph C, 1, under the Great Seal of the United Kingdom, and 2, during a temporary absence of the Governor for a short period from the seat of government or from the state. Number 3. Section 51 of the Principal Act is amended. A. By omitting subsection 1, and B. By omitting from subsection 2, 1, 2, 2, this section and in and 3. And the expression signet means the seal commonly used for the sign manual of the sovereign, or the seal with which documents are sealed by the Secretary of State in the United Kingdom on behalf of the sovereign. Western Australia's Constitution Act 1889, Part 7, Miscellaneous. Legislator, as constituted by this Act, empowered to alter any of its provisions. Number 73, number 2. A bill that A. expressly or impliedly provides for the abolition of or alteration in the office of governor, or B. expressly or impliedly provides for the abolition of the Legislative Council or of the Legislative Assembly, or C. expressly or impliedly provides that the Legislative Council or the Legislative Assembly shall be composed of members other than members chosen directly by the people, or D. expressly or impliedly provides for a reduction in the numbers of the members of the Legislative Council or of the Legislative Assembly, or E. expressly or impliedly in any way affects any of the following sections of this Act, namely sections 2, 3, 4, 50, 51 and 73, shall not be presented for assent by or in the name of the Queen unless F. the second and third readings of the bill shall have been passed with the concurrence of an absolute majority of the whole number of the members for the time being of the Legislative Council and the Legislative Assembly, respectively, and G. the bill has also prior to such presentation been approved by the electors in accordance with this section, and a bill assented to consequent upon its presentation in contravention of this subsection shall be of no effect as an act. All Australia Acts, Request Acts 1985, Australia Act 1986 and Australia Acts Request Act 1999 are all done to the political parties treasonously changed constitutional definitions without a referendum in 1973. Law and Justice Legislation Amendment Act 1988, Commonwealth Act number 120 of 1988, which amended Section 80, Common Law to govern, replacing Common Law of England with Common Law in Australia. Under the treasonous political party sovereign, independent and federal nation, they can't have Common Law of England as our Commonwealth of Australia, Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9, and the schedule is a common law contract, and the treasonous political party sovereign, independent and federal nation is a republican dictatorship. All state police joined their so-called brothers, the Australian Federal Police, and became mercenaries. No crown and constitutional authority, just mercenary thugs, commonly referred to as pigs. Nice. Referendums by the political parties. Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. Governor-General, Trader, fraudulently produced a writ for the political parties to have a referendum to become a republic or stay as a constitutional monarchy. The referendum of 1999 of treason. Question 1. To alter the Constitution to establish the Commonwealth of Australia as a republic with the Queen and Governor-General being replaced by a President appointed by 2/3 majority of the members of the Commonwealth Parliament. Question 2. To alter the Constitution to insert a preamble. The results. Question 1. The referendum was not carried. No states recorded a yes vote. Nationally, 45.13% of electors voted yes. Question 2. The referendum was not carried. No states recorded a yes vote. Nationally, 39.34% of electors voted yes. The political party's Republican Australian Electoral Commissioner, under their sovereign, independent and federal nation, forced people as established under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule as proclaimed and gazetted, to vote in this referendum to become a republic or stay a constitutional monarchy, and took no notice of the results. These political parties enacted treason upon themselves. Now there's a picture there. Former Electoral Commissioner Bill Gray returns the writs for the 1999 referendum to the Governor-General Sir William Dean. Right. Upon the states joining the treasonous political party's status of their sovereign, independent and federal nation, this gave them ownership of all now treasonous states created for their so-called status for their state a local government act to enforce the political party's takeover of all political party Australian land. All state local governments are extortion rackets, no crown and constitutional authority. Local Government Act 1993, number 95, Tasmania. Local Government Act 1993, number 30, New South Wales. Local Government Act 1989, number 11, Victoria. Local Government Act 1995, number 74, Western Australia. Local Government Act 1999, number 62, South Australia. Local Government Act 1993, number 70, Queensland. The above 6 acts are political party extortion, which equals treason. Political party treasonous constitution. And there's their satanic kangaroo and emu with the Roman wreath underneath their Australia. Satanic. The Constitution, political party's republic seal, printed on the 1st of January 2012, together with proclamation declaring the establishment of the Commonwealth, establishing political parties Commonwealth in 1973, letters patent relating to the office of the Governor-General, Queen of Australia, Statute of Westminster Adoption Act 1942 and Australia Act 1986.
In the proclamation for the Commonwealth of Australia, the proclamation declaring the establishment of the Commonwealth, that is their Commonwealth, this is all to their system. It's got their proclamations and things have got nothing to do with us. There's no royal assent to anything that's going here. And if they talk about a royal assent, it's under the Queen of Australia.
What do we got? With political parties sovereign, independent and federal nation, which equals treason. Overview, notes and index by the Attorney General's Department and Australian Government Solicitor. Prepared by the Office of Legislative Drafting and Publishing, Attorney General's Department, Canberra. Political Party Luciferian Constitution. Copyright or copyrighted, Commonwealth of Australia 2012. Under the above, this High Court of Australia protects treason, pedophiles, sabotage, treachery and fraud. All created outside our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9 and the schedule. The Commonwealth plus the 6 states and the territories are all under status of this treasonous political party Republican dictatorship. Political parties created their own private, sovereign, independent and federal nation. God, not being our God, our sign manual, Governor-General of Australia, Great Seal, Royal Great Seal, Great Seal of Australia, Government of Australia, Parliament of Australia, Queen of Australia, our Royal Proclamation, Elizabeth R, our Australian Parliament. Elizabeth R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen. This creates Elizabeth R for the political parties. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen of Australia. Under the above, there is no common law of England, King James Bible, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, Habeas Corpus, Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, etc., all to the benefit of treasonous political parties. The above creates all the treasonous powers for the treasonous political parties: sovereign, independent and federal nation, republican dictatorship. Research into the following seal, which is Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia. The Governor-General, Miss Quentin Bryce, was asked if the seal shown above was the seal referred to in the commission given by Queen Elizabeth II to Miss Quentin Bryce, to which an administrative assistant from the Government House in Canberra replied that the seal shown above is the same seal as the one that is on the Governor-General's commission. No Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief has been commissioned under the signed manual and signet since 18th of December 1959. This changed our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, consisting of its preamble, clauses 1 to 9, and the schedule. Facts: treason, treachery and sabotage by members of political parties, each under their own party's constitution and policies, have deceived us and our constitutional sovereign and monarch by creating, under a progressive evolutionary process, corporations that control all entities inside parliaments, governments and courts of Australia, with no separation of powers and with purported Governor-Generals and Governors under their control. When we wake up and stand up, all contracts in counterfeit dollars is criminal fraud. Therefore, no contract. All loans in the dollar. Housing, property, farms and businesses are void. And Dick has put a little note down there. Try and prove me wrong. Dick Yardley.